Hello, Mr. Thomas.
Hello.
It's that time of year, summer in England, Europe. Some of that big time racing getting underway, and there's not a whole lot bigger than the Royal Ascot, at least in England, is there, Thomas?
I don't think so. I think this is the premier meet, and we get 5 days of racing with 7 races per day. So
that means you get five times of Thomas and Rich, 35 times. I think by then everybody's going to say, I hope you guys don't do another Foreign Friday to next Royal Ascot. Well, that could change, of course, depending upon our ace marksmanship and when it comes to pinpointing some winners, hopefully. Last year, I think memory serves, but I always think positively. I thought we had a pretty good Royal Ascot last year.
We actually, yeah, I had a very nice Royal Ascot, a couple of nice long shots and a couple near misses. And then some that I would rather not talk about.
Well, we won't talk about those. Just real briefly before we got started, Tom and I were kind of trying to figure out when this whole shindig started. It started in 1768, and until 1969 or 39.
39.
Yeah, it was the only meet that they held at the course. So it wasn't until 1939 that they actually hosted other races outside of the Royal Ascot at the track. That goes back a long time. Terry, who won the opener at Royal Ascot in the first time out? You were there live in person, right? I always give people a hard time. I apologize. I know it's just a thing. So speaking of which, right now the track, Thomas, is listed as good to firm.
Yes.
But I think there's some chance that could change because if we take a look at the weather forecast here, it looks like it's going to rain there this evening. If it's not raining now, rain throughout the day tomorrow, which could mean that maybe it gets downgraded a little bit. What do you think?
It's very possible. One of the things we should point out to our listeners is that there is a website that you can go look at what the going is and as they put it, the going stick on the track when they go around and stab it, so to speak. We will make sure that website, it's on the Ascot website. And it's good information to know how the course is playing. And also, as we know, these fields are not small on some of these races. And sometimes there is a distinct bias on one side or the other.
And you'll catch that a lot of times by watching the races. You'll see them split like the Red Sea. Half goes this way and half goes that way. And it's pretty interesting to watch, especially when you consider some of these races are just straight sprints down the runway, so to speak. Okay, so let's get cracking. People didn't come to hear us pontificate. We're going to talk about the Queen, and
we're going to do enough of that in these races.
Oh yes, well, a lot of deep fields. Just a lot of good horses. Really, anybody can win. This one's 1 mile, Thomas, on the Royal Ascot straight course. Yes, indeed. So we'll bring up what the course looks like here. You can see 1 mile. They're going to start back here. They're going to run down here. They're going to run uphill. Then it's going to get level and then go a little bit downhill to the finish line. And again, this is where you're going to want to watch because you might see the horses do like this to find out which side is better than the other, especially if it gets a little bit wet outside. Last year, I think, was it last year or the year before, they were just slopping around?
Year before, last year.
In the swamp, and everybody just kind of like spread out from the middle. Nobody wanted to run in that area. All right, Tom, so it's time to get to work. What you got?
I'm going to start with number 9, Native Trail is my top choice with draw 4. One race this season, finished second at Newmarket. It was in a Group 2 race at a mile, and I thought he clearly needed a run, even though he did placed forwardly in the race and held second. Not probably 100% at that point, but I think they're putting him into the right place at the right time. He's a 7 furlong and 1 mile winner. He's 4 for 4 at 7 furlongs, which should give you some idea, and 2 for 4 at 1 mile with 2 seconds. So he's pretty consistent at the 7 and the mile distance. For him, the going should be okay. I just think he needed a sharpening. Of course, there will be a jockey change where William Buick is going to be riding another horse that is not very good, but and James Doyle will take them out, and he is the second rider for Godolphin, so you're not losing anything there. Number 5, Light Infantry is going to be my next choice with draw 2. It's 3 runs this season. It has no wins. Just missed last time out at a longer distance at Perry Longchamp. He ran a really dull effort at Newbury, I should say, and he didn't look comfortable in the race. And I'm watching it. The horse didn't look. And then I read some of the comments, and they kind of concurred with what I was seeing. He ran another race with my top choice, ran a good third, and that was also his first effort out. He's a winner at a little shorter distances, but he does run longer. It'll be very interesting to see how he can do. And coming out of that last race is where I'm putting my finger on that he's going to have some form. And finally, I'm going to take the mare number 12 in Spiral, who's got draw 6. First start of the season, she's facing the boys again. She's done this before. Last race of the season last year, it was not a great effort. She beat my second choice in this race by a neck at Deauville in August last year, and she's won at Royal Ascot before, and she's also won off layoffs. That transition from 3 to 4 is always an issue with mares, or in this case, affiliation. Correct that. Definitely going to be the favorite, in my opinion. And let's see if she can hit the board, or is she going to be still running?
Terry likes the 7, the 9, the 12. The 9, 6 wins out of 10 races. I'm going to start with Modern Games. Great turf breeding. Absolutely, unquestionably a miler. 8 times, 5 wins, 3 seconds. Can't argue with that record at all. Number 4 is my next choice. Chinned It. Is that like the stuff that you get on your chin when you eat Doritos or something? I'm not sure. But it was second to Modern Games last out and has beat many of the other contenders in here in making the classic third start after a layoff. I'm going to go with the lady as well, Inspiral, as my third choice in here. Apparently a lot of other folks are with 8 tips, Thomas. Can't argue with her record either. 8 times out, 6 wins in a second. 4 of the W's came in 6 tries at 1 mile. My only question here, it's the first race since October, but she basically ran the same schedule last year and came back to win at Royal Ascot. And then finally, number 11, right up there. You got to have a long shot in these races, Thomas. Triple Time. That's what I'm doing today. Triple Time, right? Got to have a price horse, as I mentioned. Winner of 3 or 4 races at the distance. This one's making the first run since October. The only other time the horse had a longer time off was 364 days. Missed 1 year by a day. Actually came back to win that race. I think you might see a fresh trip for Triple Time at a 28-1 price for me. And just to make note, this race will start at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. But it'll start right now with the predictor. Let's see, Thomas, who the predictor says will be the Queen Anne Stakes champ this year. Bang! Chinned It at 14-1, Thomas. How about that? Going to get the better of Modern Games and Mutsa Beck. Native Trail, Inspiral, and Light Infantry right there. So a bunch of names that you and I mentioned in this deep field. What do you think about that?
Going to be interesting. It's a very competitive field. My concern with Modern Games is, of course, he won his first Group 1 last out, and that is racing the American way, so to speak. Mm-hmm. He's never been a great horse when it comes to the hilly, and Ascot will definitely be a bit of an undulation field. And so that's my concern with him. And my feeling is I got to take one of the favorites out, and that was the one that drew that straw. The reason I think he's a better flat track runner than he is going up and down, even though he did win his last race.
The bumpies. Race 2 is the Coventry Stakes, Thomas. This time around, they're going to go 6 furlongs on that straight track again. You'll see down here 6 furlongs. They'll just bump it up the starting gate a little bit. Again, they'll make that uphill run, then they'll level out, and then they'll run back downhill to hit the finish line in there, Thomas. At 6 furlongs in this Coventry Stakes, Group 2 type. Who do you have as your winner?
Well, and these are your favorite kind of races, 2-year-olds, and there's how many entries?
Yeah, I think too many is what the answer to that question is. What, 22?
Yeah.
And so I sent Tom an email before we get started. I'm like, hey, did you toss out any of these 2-year-old races? He's like, nah, we're going to do them all. I was like, all right, here we go. 22 of them. Let's see if we agree on any of them. That'll be,
Yes.
I honestly don't know. So I'm interested to see what you got.
It'll be very interesting. First, I'm going to start with number 13, Hatim, with draw 8. Ran third last out at Epsom, but it also failed to break properly from the gate, and I think that cost the race, and he was the favorite in that race.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, he ran at Bath in a 6-length winner. That was his second start, and then he had a first run of a third at Goodwood. And at the Goodwood track, he ran towards the rear. He had a lot to do to win that race, to get it in that race, but he wasn't going to win it, but he was getting a great learning experience coming in third.
Mm-hmm.
So off that Bath run and this run, it'll be very interesting. It was because, in the last 2 races, he's been the favorite. And this race, he's listed at what?
33-1. Going to be a little bit of a price here, Tom.
A little bit of a price.
Tom being Tom is what we want to see.
And if we can avoid those problems at the gate, and I think this horse got a nice chance. It ran a decent race at Bath and ran a decent race at Goodwood for its first out. My next choice is going to be number 12. Give them the beat, boys.
Give me the beat, boys. I think is that a Janet Jackson, like a hat tip to Janet Jackson. Wasn't that back in the day?
Well, anyway. He's by Bungle in the Jungle, so that should tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the last effort. It was at the Curragh Group 3. He went off at 11-1, and he looked very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out that race coming off a win at Navan in a maiden. He had a lot to work to do to win the race. So, and that's always impressive with 2-year-olds and showing maturity, because he started the center, he switched out left, and then kept coming. The breeding suggests that sprinting is his game, and so far he hasn't been disappointing. Finally, I'm going to take number 3, Asada or Sadin. I don't know. Draw 7.
Asadna. We'll go with Asadna.
Okay. One race, won it. It won it by 12 lengths, and it was at Ripon. And to the standard, it was less than a second to the standard on that track, and it received a 120 rating for that run, which is pretty good by anything. This breeding suggests no farther than 7 furlongs. Well, this is 6, and based on that race, I have to think this horse is going to be somewhere in there. My concern is the post position, which is 17.
Well, where you left off, I'm going to start. So the only one we agree on is Asanda. Made easy work of the competition at debut. Would have went by like 12, 15 or something like that. Probably just jogged around the track there. And it also had, as you mentioned, Tom, the highest class rating for any horse in this field, which is shocking because some of them are running some pretty good races. Number 17 for me is where I'm going to go next. That is River Tiber. This one looks like it's going to be the favorite in here with Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. That's a pretty good combination, though. This horse has won both of its races, and I don't think it's been more than an 80-cent favorite. I think last time out, like 33 cents. So clearly, a lot of folks think highly of River Tiber. The number 4 horse is where I'll go for my third pick, Bobsled. That one's going to be 20-1, kind of in Thomas's range. So you got a couple of short price ones in here, and then a couple of the long shots. It's another one that hasn't lost in 2 races. And if you look through the comments, this one dwells at the beginning, comes from way back. So he's going to be coming from off the pace. And certainly looking through some of the other comments, there's going to be a lot of speed in here to chase down in a 6-furlong race. So we'll see if he can do it. But he also scored the second best class rating last time out. And then finally, the 9 horse, my final choice, Emperor Sun at 25-1. I think if you read the comments, it was only a 5-horse field, so okay. It still managed to win its debut, but it emphasized that the horse was hampered badly at the start. Again, against only 4 horses, will be a completely different story if he gets hampered badly with a 22-horse field. But if you get off to a clean start, heck, the horse has already proven it can come through troubled times. This one, by the way, will start at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. And let's see what the predictor says is going to happen at 6:16 or 6:16 Eastern on Monday, the 19th. And bam, River Tiber taking the W. I'm not even paying attention to I didn't have time to run through the predictor before we got started. Give me the beat, boys. Thomas's horse right there. I think that's a photo finish, though. Bobsled is right in there. And look at this one down here, Tom, at the bottom and up here. Packard and Politico, 100-1 type. So maybe you might want to think about tossing those in the back end of exactas and trifectas, because with a 22 horse field, even if the favorite wins, you get 100-1 on the backside of that. I think you're going to get a pretty good payout. What do you think?
It's very possible, because remember who won last year? The Riddler, in that strangely run race where he went in front of everybody, crossed over on, and still paid a very handsome price. So
Terry in this race says he likes the 10, the 3, and the 12. Barry Knight's got a question for you, Thomas. How many races does William Buick win during this meet?
Good question. He's not the top jockey at the Royal Ascot. The two right now, the two that are at the top are Frankie Dettori, who's retiring, and I think Ryan Moore is either 1 or 2 races behind. So those are the two that I would concentrate on. Frankie certainly has got some good mounts, and Ryan Moore works for a gentleman who definitely puts out some horses that are very good. Buick it'd be interesting to see. He's got good mounts. Now the question is, what is he going to do with them? So
tomorrow, do you have any best bets for tomorrow? I know that we had a gentleman on earlier in the day today, Jay. If Jay, you're watching, will be from England, who mentioned, I think, Beach something. I can't remember off the top of my head, Terry. I know it was Beach something or another was the name for both horses tomorrow that he really liked. The name started with Beach, and then that was the prefix, and I don't remember what the suffix was. Third race number. Okay, we'll talk about race number 3 next, Tom. Terry's jumping the gun on us a little bit there.
Oh, Terry's got his picks all warmed up.
He's ready to go, baby. He can't wait to see what happens at the Royal Ascot. Number 3
I don't
race.
blame him, because it's pretty wild. It can be pretty wild there.
Well, you got deep fields, man. It's and lots of money to be made. And the one thing, they have separate pools here from there, right?
I think we're in the world pool.
Oh, we're in the world pool?
Yeah. Okay. I think there's a world pool, and so that'll be money from Japan, money from Australia, money from all over.
But not from England.
No.
So there's a chance that there could be
the odds are going to be definitely going to be different.
So there's a chance there's an arbitrage, perhaps. So I would look to see like what the English odds are, compare it what the Whirlpool odds are, because you might find that there's an arbitrage there. And if you see that the folks that are local are picking something that the world people aren't, it might be a good tip off.
Yeah, there may be a couple good overlays in these races, so you just don't know. And
so,
I picked up on those in the past on other types of racing, where at the track it was 7-2 and our odds were 22-1.
Yeah, I mean you can't.
Makes no sense.
You can't overlook that. You have to. You have to play something like that
right out there, and I just jumped on that one because I'm like, oh, okay, somebody knows this is a decent horse.
Yeah, indeed. So keep an eye on that. That's something I would definitely put into your toolbox for the entirety of the Royal Ascot meet. So in race number 3, it is the King Stand Stakes. They're going to go even shorter this time around, Tom. They're going to run 5 furlongs. It's going to start here. It's the shortest of the straightaway races, up the hill, down the hill to the finish line, Tom. In this one is going to start at approximately 1:40 p.m. Eastern. So when the gates open and the turf starts flying, in this field of this is the shortest one, right? No, 19
1:40 Eastern doesn't make sense.
Well, that's what it says.
Because the racing goes off at 2. The royal procession's at 2:00 in England, and then 2:30 is the first race.
That's what it wrote in Brisnet. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had it screwed up. Yeah,
that's screwed up because it's a 6-hour difference.
Well, so 3:40
to the East Coast, 6 hours.
All right, so scrap all the times then. Brisnet, you screwed me up, make me look foolish. I won't do that again.
Yeah, I was going, what the heck are you? I mean, I know
you usually think that with my picks too.
King is going to wear in the
Right.
The queen is going to wear.
I have no idea.
That's one of those, one of the bigger bets.
So forget the time then about what the king or the queen is going to wear. What a king is going to wear some kind of outfit. I guess he's the first time the king at this. So I'd expect something purple is what I'd expect. And race 3 for 5 furlongs in the King Stand Stakes, where I'm going to go with Charles wearing purple. Thomas, who do you have winning?
I'm going to take number 19, Dramatist, who has draw 18. Really impressive last time out at Haydock. 5 furlong race, won by a length. It was really a really excellent race. And, this is a horse that has been very talented. She has won the Queen Mary. And she did that from the 17 post. So she's already won at Royal Ascot in the past. She's lightly raced, got a great sprint record. She should be up with the leaders, and I really see her getting the job done here. Number 10, Coolangatta, and that's our Australian horse, draw number 2. She comes down, and she's in great form. She won her last race at Group 1 at Flemington. She beat I Wish I Win, who's no slouch.
No.
And she's won 5 races from 8 tries, and she's got 2 thirds. And these are all in top company. And her maiden win was in a Group 3 race. So they already knew they had something. They said everyththing I've read says she's training like a champ. This will give her a chance to see if the Australians can win this race 2 years in a row. Nature Strip won it last year. No, I did not see anything that it ran against Giga Kick. And we know how good that one is.
Yes.
Number 13, Munesta, is going to be my final choice, has draw 14. Has one run this year. She ran at NAS. She was 4th behind Ladies Church. And she went off the favorite, which I cannot figure out why, because this horse generally doesn't go off as the favorite. She's consistent. And Ladies Church is a good horse. I mean, that one horse has won at the Kerr and some top events. So, but her record says to me she's going to be in. She may not win. She probably won't win, but you're going to get some odds on her. She's had 22 runs. She's got 3 wins. She's got 7 seconds and 4 thirds. So I can't leave her off.
Now, Terry says he puts his picks up there early because he doesn't want us to think he's copying. We know you don't copy, Terry. Number 6, loves to be competitive. Number 10, Swiss Out, 8 starts, 5 wins in 8 starts. Number 14, Irad Ortiz in the irons. Number 5, 5 wins out of. The only thing is, though, last year.
Irad was a disaster last year.
Hopefully he learned something, but he really struggled last year. So it is a Wesley Ward horse, too, the 14. I was thinking about Twilight Gleaming as well, but he really struggled over there last year. We'll find out if
his best finish was 4th.
If he picked up anything in his notebook. Of course, we're cheering for him.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd rather have Frankie Dettori on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that he struggled there. It was a new endeavor for him, and I'm sure he'll improve. It's the strange thing is we agree on the first 2, Tom. So you got 19 horses, and we come to the same conclusion on the first 2. So I'd expect a lot of other punters to come to the same ideas. So I wouldn't be surprised if the odds go down on both of them. But I have Dramatized in here too, or Dramatized as my top choice. I think it's going to improve in its second start after a layoff. And interestingly, trainer Carl Burke goes back to jockey Daniel Tudhope, who rode the horse in its debut and in its second start. So the first 2 races, won both of them pretty handily. And one of those races was the Queen Mary here last year. And then number 10.
Again, I noted the post position, so it could handle that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not the most favorable area of the track. So
we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Hopefully, it's one of those that goes like this, and he's on the right side of this.
Yeah.
Coolangatta does have a trio of Group English, Richard. Group 1 wins in Australia. Do like to see that. And you mentioned, Tom, and I thought this was pretty interesting. I don't know that I ever recall seeing a horse that's made 8 starts, and all of them were what we would call graded company over here. They're all group company, debuted in Group 3 and never never went down once. So they obviously think they have something here with this horse. Number 12, Highland Princess. Looks like it might be the favorite.
Highfield Princess.
Highfield Princess. Yes. Sorry.
We saw her at Keeneland last year at the Breeders' Cup. She ran 4th.
Well, I don't think there's any question that this one wants to come on at the end of the race.
Yeah,
my question is 5 furlongs a little on the short side, Tom? What do you think?
She's won at that distance before, so she's got a kick. Just a matter of whether she's got the trip, gets the trip.
Yeah, but 22 horses, 20 other one horses. You're going to definitely have to get a good trip.
Yes, that is.
And then yeah, absolutely. And finally, number 2. Well, the good thing is it's a straight track, so I mean,
yeah, but
it's going to get too horrible.
Part of it, if they break off into 2 groups, okay, sometimes you're in the wrong group.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not going at the right pace that the other side is going at, and you get your winners from there, or you get one that comes in 3rd from the other group. Mm-hmm. So that's where the strategy comes in. Is how are they going to run? Are they going to go up the middle? The first race, I easily see them going up the middle.
Yeah,
and because they really won't know where that track is playing at that point, and so it's going to be interesting.
So make sure you go to the Royal Ascot website. I'll try to find a link for it because we will post all of our comments and the video back over at horseracingtoday.net a little bit later on today. But I'll try to find the link for the stick going so that you know.
Yeah, I'll look it up right now while we're talking.
All right. And then my final pick in here is number 2, Cannonball. It's another Aussie Invader. Does have a Group 3 win. So that's a plus for me. Just missed with a close call in a Group 1 in its last race. Went to the sidelines. It's getting a little bit of rest in here, Thomas. And the good news is the horse has taken a similar layoff 3 times. Came back to win 2 of them. 20-1. Looks like the odds are rising a little bit. So maybe the bettors are going to back off that one and we'll get an even better price. I'll be happy if it wins at 20-1, 30-1. All right. And now let's go off to, let's see, Terry. So Terry's already put in the 4th. We don't think you're copying, brother.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. He does. It's no question.
Okay. There's that link and I'll send it on to you, Rich, too.
All right. Perfect. So we'll put that over at horseracingtoday.net. I'll also link to a free past performance pages. So if you kind of want to look through it and make your own picks or kind of confirm what we're talking about or just laugh at what we're talking about or some combination of
maybe
both.
Some of that.
Yes. You feel free to do that. Oh, but we almost
and some of the paid stuff that's out there, if you're interested in, is very detailed and there's a lot of reading to do. So if you want to sit down and do a little reading, there's some great stuff out there.
Almost forgot the predictor, Thomas. You can't forget the predictor.
No, you can't forget that.
I can tell you this race is going off at 3:40 their time. How about that? I think I got that about right. Which would put it at about 9:40
Eastern?
Yeah, so 8:40 our time. Well, that horse looks like it's going to be the clear winner there, dramatized. Vadream, a horse that neither of us talked about at 66-1, Tom. Again, the predictor is remotely close to accurate. You might want to toss that one. Equilateral, Munista, there's your horse, Thomas, in there. Mannequin, Anif, none of the I guess the Australian horses probably don't have any.
They can't. They don't have this past performance, the numbers in there to put them in the predictor. So that's why you do not see them.
Yeah. So you got to kind of factor that in your own way. Race number 4 coming up in a 7 race card that Tom and I are going to tackle right here. This one is, it's interesting to me here, Tom. I know English are the ones that created English. I would guess the language, but St. James's Palace Stakes, man, I thought Possessive only got 1 S. What is wrong with those folks over there?
I must go maybe Old English. I don't know.
I'm not sure either, but I saw that. I'm like, is that a typo? Anyway,
good question. I have no clue.
They probably know the language better than we do. It's, after all, their native tongue for sure.
Wow.
This one, they're going to run 1 mile on the course. So is this going to be the one back here?
Yeah.
Or the one down here?
No, it's not it's the straight course.
Back down here. Okay. So they're going to run that mile again down the straight. So pay attention to the opening races and see if indeed they do the parting. And if so, which side of the parting tends to produce the winners, because that could point you, if you're trying to tie break between a horse that's on the left side or the right side and the right side's running better, then you might want to upgrade the right side horse. In that race,
by
Tom?
the fourth race, you should have some idea.
Yeah, you should. So who do you think is going to win this one?
I'm going to go with number 9. Royal Scotsman is my top choice. She has draw 4. Ty tossed the last race at the Curragh. Let's just say it wasn't his day. And not a great run. Better in the Guineas at Newmarket, ran 3rd at a decent price. And, his last 2 races were at a mile or better. Now he drops a little bit. So I think his better races have been at the lesser distances. That's why I think it's going to be interesting. Remember, he did go off the favorite last time out.
Mm-hmm.
You could get 14-1 on this one. And I think it's a nice play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take number 6. Isaac Shelby is my next choice. It has draw 3. 2 races this season. It has a win at Newbury and a Group 3 race. It won by 3 lengths at 7 furlongs. And then it went to Perry Longchamp. Tried to run the mile. Just missed by a neck. But the going was very soft. And so we get that rain. Could be interesting.
Could be helpful.
Yeah. It's one on good to firm going at Newmarket. So it's had that. And really, I think its last effort was probably one of its best efforts. It's got the markers to say it's ready for a really big race, and this may be it. My final choice is going to be number 8, Paddington. Has draw 8. Winner of 4 in a row. Can't beat that, right? Last one was at the Curragh. It was Group 1. He's been steadily moving up in class. And, well, you win 4 in a row. You got to be doing something right.
Yeah, well, you have no choice but to go up then.
Yeah, and last was a Group 1, so we're back in a tough race. Let's see what this one shows.
So Terry says he's going to go with the 1 horse in here. Chaldine doesn't like to lose. Dettori in the irons. Number 3 is perfect so far, and that's Cicero's Gift. And then finally, number 8, Ryan Moore, riding on Paddington for Terry in that race. I'm going to go ahead with the 1 horse as well, Terry. Terry is copying, no question now. Chaldine. This horse might have won 6 races in a row if it didn't unseat the rider 2 back. The only race it did not perform in was its debut. Number 8, Paddington. Tom, your 3rd choice. I like that one as well. Won his last 4 with ease, that including a Group 1, which was the Irish Guineas last out. I remember you telling me before the Irish have a little bit better purses, so maybe maybe it is a little bit of a step backwards. Who knows? Number 3, as Terry mentioned, Cicero's Gift, the 8-1 horse in here. Looks like its odds are kind of heading higher too. The backers are moving off that one, but it is undefeated in 3 easy wins, including 2 at today's distance of a mile. And this just goes back to something I heard a commentator say on a horse that you and I bet on. And you mentioned his name a little bit earlier, Tom, and it escapes me right now. But Giga Kick, where the horse had not lost yet, and the trainer and the announcers in Australia had said, you just don't know how good a horse is until it loses. Well, we won't know how good Cicero's Gift is until it loses, and it hasn't done it yet. Yeah. And then finally, Isaac Shelby, the 6 horse, 9-1 in there. Tom, I like that one as well. Just missed at a Group 1 at Longchamp, as Thomas pronounces it. Last out. That was the first time the horse had tried a mile. So I think you're going to get something better the second time at a mile and the 3rd time after a layoff. And we'll see to what degree the predictor agrees with us, either of us right now. And it looks like it's going to be a tight race in here. Bam. Paddington, Chaldine, Isaac Shelby, Royal Scotsman. Sounds a lot like Thomas's picks. Boy, that Cicero's Gift may have been undefeated. We might not know how good it is until it loses, but it sure looks like the predictor is unimpressed, Tom.
Well, I was too. I won the Guineas and did a nice style, but I don't know. I just think this is a tougher track for it than what it's been running on, and this I think is one of the best quality fields that it's raced against. Mm-hmm. So it'll be it's run and beat some of these horses, but like Paddington hasn't faced yet.
And interestingly, that was the shortest field too, 9 horses. And if you think about here, 9 horses, it's not a short field on this side of the ocean.
We were glad to get a 9-horse field.
In California, right? Especially.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with the horse racing out there, but we do know that they're going to run 2 miles and 4 furlongs. So in English, that's 2.5 miles. That's a long one, Thomas.
Yeah. Well, we have plenty of those kind of races here.
Yeah, not really. Oh. Maybe in like a high school, cross country meet or something, but outside of that. So they're going to start here. They're going to go up and down and around and back down and around.
Your visual is not up, just so you
know. Oh, okay. So let me do that again. They're going to start here on the straightaway. They're going to come down, going to go up,
over the river, around, through the woods,
come down. Yes, it is indeed a cross country meet, as I mentioned there. I would suspect, Thomas, that in all likelihood they'll probably jog the early part, and whoever has the most late energy will be the one that captures the crown here. What do you think?
That's exactly the strategy, and you can try to put it out in front and just dictate the pace. But most of them will sit back, and at the 3 furlong, all hell breaks loose.
So when the 3 furlong marker comes and all hell breaks loose, who is going to be the bat out of hell? Little Meatloaf reference.
Well, my number 6, a horse with no name, is my top choice as draw 7. It was a winner last out at Cheltenham. Mm-hmm. But what kind of races do they run there? Well, they run hurdle races there, and that was what it won. And guess what distance it won at?
Probably this one.
This distance. Has a good flat record. I mean, I'm impressed by it. 6 starts, 4 wins, and a third. She's won on all kinds of going. Soft, good to soft, everything. Interesting career overall. 18 starts, has 6 wins, 4 seconds, and 3 thirds. And those are on the flats, on the national, the hurdles, and the national fences, which are the big ones. Mm-hmm. Now, as one of our individuals asked about, William Buick, he picks up this mount. Interesting pickup.
Yeah, indeed. Also, this one, we stick with the music theme, a Bob Dylan horse, right? I went through the Ascot on a horse with no name. We were kind of hoping for the rain. All right, go ahead.
Number 20, Zinc White is going to be my next choice. Has draw 19.
Way out there, baby.
Which I'm not thrilled with. Hasn't had a race since October, comes into this one class 2 handicap, ran nicely at 18 furlongs, won at Chester, which is a very tight turn track, but it's going to need a heck of a trip. Did switch trainers and hadn't raced in 561 days. Now that's a layoff. Went off at 33-1 at Chester and won. Prior to that, it races at what, it was in 2021. A mile and a half was mainly its races. So they've all of a sudden taken this horse and put it in much longer distances. Mm-hmm. And with one race, they got a nice result. And there's some people thinking that man may do it, but I'm a little concerned with the outside post, especially in a field like this, because they're going to be dawdling along. Finally, I'm going to take number 4, Urban Artist, is my final choice. It has draw 14. This one ships from France. It's been running enlisted races, Perry Longchamp. It finished 6th flat out, and when it asked to go, it showed a little, and then the jockey eased him up at the finish. So wasn't going to win, but got something out of it. First start of the year was at Nottingham. Ran 4th of 5 runners, and in that race was a horse by the name of Truchan. It was the huge favorite in that race, and so obviously that was a pretty quality race, a little better than we think. The winner went off at 18-1, so I'll give you some idea that beat Truchan.
Go ahead.
This horse is one on going of soft, heavy, but it's also done pretty well on the good to soft. Good to firm, I'm not 100% sure of, but the distance is right. Everything indicates it's going to get decent odds, and this is a great spot for it to hit the board.
I was thinking a horse with no name. I think Bob Dylan. No, it's not Bob Dylan.
It's America.
America, yes, indeed. I don't know why I thought that. But anyhow, we got the right answer there.
You're allowed.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, let's see if I can get the right answer on the horses, though, here. I'm going to start with the 20 horse, too, Thomas. Outside there, Zinc White. I did make note that it is way out there in post position number 19. But I don't know if the 2.5 miles, if that's really going to make that big. He's got plenty of time to make up for
yeah,
that.
it does. It makes it a much longer race. So it really does depend on positioning. As I said, it looks like, after being off 561 days, it wins. The trainer did something right.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that was off for quite a long time and then came back to make an easy win at 2 miles and 5/16. And the second up, according to the resume, will be better than the first up. And I like him even more, Tom, because 3 wins on the soft track. So if that rain continues to muddy up or wet up the course there, I think Zinc White, the better it is, the more he might like that footing. Number 5 is my next choice, Bring On the Night, which is going to be dawning around here shortly. This one finished second by 3/4 of a length at this race. I think it was 2 years ago, Tom. It's tough to tell in the data for me. Hasn't run since that race. So that one's potentially a big wild card, but you do catch that top jock there, Ryan Moore. And I suspect he wouldn't have taken a mount if he didn't think it was live. Number 11, Zophie, 12-1. A little bit of action from the bettors, down from the original line of 14-1. Missed by a neck at 2 5/16 miles last time out as well. I think this is another one that's going to find going a little bit longer to be in its comfort zone. And again, one word, the second off the resume, second off the start, the resume says, hey, should be better. And then finally, number 15, A Novel Legend is my final choice in here at 12-1. Finished behind Zinc White in their last race. Again, I feel like this is one that should like going 2.5 miles instead of 2 5/16 miles. For me in this race, Tom, it was all about horses that I thought could handle going 2.5 miles. Probably a little bit more than what I was thinking in terms of form. What about you?
Yeah, I look at the distance, and there are a number of fence horses in this race too.
Mm-hmm.
And they are accustomed to going 2 miles plus. So if they have any kind of record on the flats, you got to think about them.
So the predictor will tell us what kind of record it thinks should play out here. And it looks like it could be a pretty tight race. Calling the Wild, Thomas. I don't think either one of us mentioned that horse. Did we?
It should go off the favorite, but the favorite in this race may be 8-1. We're going to get interesting.
Did we pick any of these horses? The Max we can. I don't remember that name. Thorn Hall, no. Silent Gateway, Law of the Sea, the Grand Advisor.
Nope.
Oh, this looks like we might get shut out. And either we're going to get shut out or the predictor is going to get shut out, Thomas. I'm rooting for the predictor to be to have an off day. See Terry what his thoughts are there. Number 6 won 4 out of the last 5 races, so he's going with the 6 horse in that race. Let's see, race number 5. He also says 3 ahead in a length from being perfect this year. 6-1. I don't know what the R stands for. Some number out of the last 5 races. Like to see more starts before he'd be my first pick for this 6-year-old on the 5. Number 6 won 4 out of the last 5 races. Okay, yes, now that makes perfect sense to me. All right, let's see if we can make perfect sense out of the next race, Thomas. Race number 6. Charles B., let's see. He's going to say, Irad got suspended. Ortiz will sit out June 25th, 30th, and July, according to the New York State Gaming Commission. Ruling dated June 17th. Yeah, well, I guess that... there was some controversy over, I guess, some of the riding style over there compared to other people who were getting suspended. And I would imagine that that probably factored into their decision-making a little bit. But I don't know because I'm not inside those walls. Race 6 is the 1 1/4 mile long Wolferton Stakes, Tom. 1.25 miles. Looks like they're going to start. This time I better bring it up on the screen right here. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're going to make a little less than 1 loop around there, about 3/4 of a loop around the triangle. Speaking of a triangle shape, Tom, this turn here looks kind of sweeping up top here. But as they come down, that looks a little bit tighter. Is that deceiving or is that a little bit of a tight turn?
It depends on where you are on the track is the best way to describe it. because it's unlike some other tracks where there's a breakaway.
Mm-hmm.
This one, Ascot does not have that, and so that can be a kind of deceiving. So this is a little you need position. Let's put it that way. I mean, if you're way fanned out, but you got a lot of horse, you could get there. But I'd rather be running in the middle of the ground, or have something on the rail that's really sharp
that can take that turn.
And we'll get some idea on the running of those straight races. But really, these turn races are a different animal, especially when you're going 2.5 miles.
Mm-hmm. Well, in this case, they're going 1.25 miles. So who do you think after the 1.25 miles is done is going to get the crown for this one?
Oh, I'm going to take number 12, Poker Face. Has draw 13.
Okay, this one I know musically is Lady Gaga, but anyway, go ahead.
Tried Group 2 company last out, and not much. But it was only beaten by 2.5 lengths. Not sure about the distance, 10 furlongs, but we'll see. First run of the season was in a Group 3. It ran a really strong second by 2 lengths. He's been moving up all along. I mean, and that was before his layoff last year. I mean, he went 3 starts. He won a maiden. He went to Class 4, so he keeps moving up in the scale. They obviously think they have something. This is a Class 2 race, so it's a little bit of class relief, but not a lot. Because there's some other horses in here that have been running in better company too. Mm-hmm. The 9 furlongs I like, based on the company, and then if he goes back, if he has his 3-year-old form, and that last race you can toss, this one could be very strong in this race. Number 14, Saga, is going to be my next choice. Has draw 3, 2 runs this season. One at York, it ran 4th, and the other one was at Newmarket, where it ran 2nd at today's distance. It only has 1 win in its career, and ironically, it was a maiden race at Ascot. So, and the maiden race, interestingly enough, was won by Modern Games. So it raced against Modern Games in a maiden race. So it's faced some decent horses, ironically, probably not known at that time. Its last run is the key. It does need, I think it needs early position and stay out of traffic. And that could be it. It could make it interesting.
Yes, we want Saga's horse to be on the loose. A little bit of music reference again, Thomas.
And this is Dettori and Gosden. They seem to know their way around the track. Finally, I'm going to take number 16, Solid Stone, who's got draw 11. It's got 1 run this season. It was at Sandown. It was a Group 3 race, and it finished a decent third by 5 lengths to one will be racing later in this week, which is Holcomb. He rallied along the rail, and he had to switch past to get that third. So that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. His last 10 races, he's won 3 of them, and they span over more than a year. And also, they're really good efforts against decent company. I just think he'll like this going, and I think this is a nice spot for this horse to hit the board.
Terry says number 3, perfect this year. So that's Terry's top pick on there. Number 3, King of Conquest, followed by the 9 horse, which is a neck away from being perfect in his career. Number 14, Trouble last race, Saga on the loose. Maybe gets it done, only lost by a neck. Where do you get the math to compute the pace for these Ascot races? That's kind of difficult to come by, to be honest with you. So it's not something I use, obviously, for what we do at home. The Parks tracks, Terry and I do, which we'll be doing again tomorrow, same time, 12:30 Eastern, or with Charles for Horseshoe Indianapolis or Belmont. You kind of have to read through the notes, to be honest with you, to kind of get a sense of where the horses are going to be, but you really don't know how fast they're going to go relative to others. Even in the data that you sent along to me, Tom, they didn't make much note of the early pace or the late pace type numbers. Do you know of any place that does show that stuff?
There is some things out there, but I'd have to go pull it out of my notes. to tell you exactly, because frankly, I don't. Since I'm really more of a trip handicapper. I want to read those comments of what people are seeing, and then go look at it myself if the video is available to me. And unfortunately, on the Racing Post site, I can get most of the video I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, just going through it with these, I just really more basic handicapping, back to like the beginning, looking for some specific things, horses on the improve, horses that run well at the distance on the surface, what sort of cycles. Then you got your jockey trainer combos, and then reading off the notes as well to kind of get some idea of what the comments are. I'm going to look at Buckaroo, number 1 horse in here as my top pick. Got to love the name Buckaroo. Coming down from a Group 1, last out. And then this horse is going to make its second start after a layoff. It's made 2 starts in a row after a layoff twice before and is unbeaten in its pair of second up races. The 9 horse, Francesca Clemente, the 11-2 right now. This one is a neck away from being undefeated, as Thomas has mentioned. Does have some really good turf breeding. And I suspect this is one that'll be making its best move as the race comes to a close. Number 3, King of Conquest is my third choice in here. King of Conquest won 4 in a row, has topped some of the others in here. And here's a stat for you. Charles Appleby, when he wins the race before with a horse, you know what he comes back and wins the next race at with the same horse, Tom? 47%. That's almost unfair.
That's scary.
Yeah. They should put like extra lead in the jockey's, saddle. Someone who's winning at anything at 47%. And then finally, number 12, Poker Face. Last race out, it held the lead in a 1 5/16 mile race. Held the lead late, gave it up. So I think taking a little bit of distance off today to 1 1/4 miles in a hat tip to our friend, the Big Boopa, Charles. He likes when those horses go long and then shave off a little bit of distance when they were on the lead late and then gave it up. All right, we got 2 more cracks at the predictor, Thomas, to see what it says is going to happen in here with this race. So let's pull up the predictor for race number 6 and see how this one is going to play out. And the predictor says, it's going to be a really tight race. Buckaroo, the 1 horse, taking the title there. Highland Avenue, Notre Belle Bete in there as well. Bolshoi Ballet, one that you and I did not pick, who's done okay over here. Solid Stone and Certain Lad. So a couple of names off the list there, Tom. The predictor better have a bad day tomorrow, because if it doesn't, you and I are going to have a bad day.
Oh, we're going to be hurting for certain.
Yes. I think we agreed with the predictor on 1 race so far. So hopefully the predictor is broken right now. That the algorithm has run amok, that the AI is taken over and is just trying to mess with everybody. The last race of the day for you and me tomorrow is going to be the 7th race. This is the Copper Horse Handicap, 1 6 furlongs. So 1 3/4 miles that they're going to run on the track. Let's see, where does that one start? Oh, this one here, a little bit more than 1 full turn around the track here. So I'm going to go downhill, going to make that turn up the hill, Tom. Again, another turn that kind of looks like it comes kind of quickly. I would suspect that could have an impact on that race if you get flared out wide. So post position might be a key here. What do you think?
It's possible, but I'm kind of thinking that it's going to be those mid-pack type runners that are going to be with cover are going to be the ones that pop out and finish the best.
All right. Well, let's see, according to Thomas, who's going to finish the best in the final race of the day. The Thomas predictor says.
That's right. I'm taking number 8, Absurdie. That has draw 10.
Which I hope does not define our picks for the day.
Well, I hope so too, because then I'm going to lose money. Winning effort last time out at Kilcarney, but that was over the hurdles. It was a huge favorite, and it was the first time. It was a novice race, first time over the hurdles. The rest of its racing has been done in France and at all different levels, and both on the all-weather and the turf. It has a record of 12 starts. It has 3 wins, 5 seconds, and 2/3. It was transferred over to William Mullins, and Frankie Dettori's picking this ride up. So I thought that was interesting, and that's why I think this is maybe the best horse in the race. Number 4, Point King is my next choice, who's got draw 16. I run this season. It finished second at Leopardstown. It was Group 3. It was at 14 furlongs. And he was just beaten, literally just beaten at the wire. And he's run well in enlisted company and group company in Ireland. His record reflects that. He's got 6 starts. He's got 3 wins and a second. It's interesting. The comment line I saw in here on this one was that it is being considered for the Melbourne Cup, which of course is a 2-mile race.
Party time, I guess, if you've ever been to that race.
Crazy stuff. And finally, I'm going to take Scriptwriter. Going to take a price here. Draw 15. This horse has mainly been going over the hurdles, been running in top company. This was a horse that was originally with Aidan O'Brien and was bought, switched out from him. It'll be interesting because they thought of a lot of it for the flats, but they've never really run it in the flat races. So I think it's an interesting placement, and I'd like to see what happens, and definitely going to get some odds.
Yes, 40-1 at the moment, and it looks like they're on the rise. Terry going to join in. He's going to go with Ruling Destiny. Trouble last, only lost by a neck. Number 13, Postilo, the 16-1 shot, going for the hat trick right there. Number 14 won easily last race, not Trouble, as I originally said. All right, so Terry's correcting on the fly right there. And then number 2, this is final choice, Sam Cook, 25-1. Says the horse did have some nice last 3 races. He appreciates the show, and we appreciate that, Terry. If, like Beverly Taylor, you like the show today, please give us a thumbs up on Facebook and on YouTube. It helps us with their algorithms. We do appreciate the comments. They also help us with the algorithm. And Charles B says we don't have to worry about the protector because it doesn't use math as data points, so we're going to be all right. Hopefully that is indeed the case. For me, and I didn't, I got to say, a lot less math for me when we do some of these, and maybe that's a good thing because at times I end up picking some longer shots. Point in the case,
you get into my territory sometimes.
Yeah, which is scary, and I hit a few too, which is even scarier. Point King could be one of those tomorrow. The 4-horse in there, missed by a head in a Group 3. Following an extended break, the horse had one other second race up. And if I remember correctly from the notes, when you look at the horse, if it first up was bad, the second one was bad. If the first up was good, the second up was good. So maybe that's, but I could be not remembering that. But number 7, Valboom is my third, or Valbon is my next choice. That looks like it's going to be the heavy favorite right there. Been off since July of 2021, I think was the last time this guy hit the track. The morning line favorite, Ryan Moore. I mean, you really don't know what's going to happen with this one. Could romp against this group and could get stomped against this group if it's unready. Number 2, Sam Cook, the one that Terry liked in there too. He indeed is copying right there. Picked up with the same form in 2023 that he left off in 2022. In 2022, he won his last 2 races, came back in 2023 to win that first one. Going to be coming on late at the end of the race and adding a quarter mile from what he ran last time out. I think that's going to be a useful extra quarter mile. And then finally, the 13, Postilo, the 16-1 shot that Terry absolutely plagiarized here. Off for more than a year. Came back with an easy win. Been on the turf 9 times, in the money 6 of them. I don't think the distance is all a question here, and no reason why this one should not step forward in round 2 off for the bench. And finally, the last time, the mathless predictor will tell us what it thinks is going to happen. It says Point King, the 4-horse, is going to get the W over that Postillo. And then you have Berkshire Rocco, Get Shirty, Raymond Tusk, and Sam Cook rounding out the rest in terms of what the predictor
There's another one for your musical references.
Sam Cook, indeed, right? We should have. This was just like a musical first day at the Royal Ascot. You and I will be back again, same time tomorrow for day 2 at the Royal Ascot. Following up to us tonight and tomorrow night as well will be Jamie and Sean in about an hour from now, exactly an hour from now. That dynamic duo will get together to talk with NBC's horse racing coverage with Kenny Rice. Should be a fantastic show. So if you have any questions for Kenny in about an hour, make sure you tune in with Sean and Jamie. as the forum will be yours. You're free to ask questions. And Terry, maybe you can ask him if he can come and announce the races at Golden Gate. I'm sure he would oblige, right? Yes, that's why Terry said it beforehand, right? Laugh my butt off. Terry, good luck. Yes, indeed. Terry is going to go ahead and ask that question. All right, Thomas, been about an hour together for the first day at Royal Ascot. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up and start prepping for tomorrow?
Watch the weather and watch the bias.
Yeah, definitely pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention to that because it may play into your, not just today, but tomorrow and going forward, because we got 5 days of racing and 35 races. So a lot of interesting things are going to happen. And also, what if you want to go check that the Ascot going report, and it'll give you some idea of maybe how the track's going to play and change and whatever. There's a lot of information there, and it may help you in your handicapping when you're reading some of these horses, when you're trying to interpret whether they're going to be able to run on the good to firm or the good to soft or the soft.
And I will link to that again over at horseracingtoday.net. It'll be about an hour or so before I get that up, because I got to get all of the video and pre-stuff together for Sean and Jamie after Tom and I click out of here. But until we get together again tomorrow, I will be joining Terry at, again, 12:30ish Eastern time for Parks Racing. And then again with Tom again at 6 p.m. And then, of course, Jamie and Sean will be there again at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, all right, folks, that wraps it up. No matter what you're doing for the rest of this day, certainly God's grace, God's favor, and your picks at the Royal Ascot or Parks or whatever it is you're doing for the rest of this Money Monday, that they end up in one place. Thomas, what is that?
The Royal Winner's Circle.
Yes, indeed, the Royal Winner's Circle. I like the ad lib. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great night.